Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Zeri updated complete guide for patch 4.3 onwards, and honestly, not too much has changed. But before we get into what has and hasn't changed, of course please refer to the Zeri basic guide that I released for her skills leveling order, as well as some tips and tricks and combos. So here we're gonna jump straight into her loadout. So basically her whole build remains the same in my opinion. I'm gonna have a few discussion points here. The first thing is Berserker's Greaves. So why don't we take Berserker's Greaves? Well, two reasons. Firstly, of course, as we know, Zeri has an attack speed cap of 1.5. You can increase it slightly with lethal tempo, but basically when you have a fully stacked Phantom Dancer, you're gonna be almost at your attack speed cap because of your passive on your Q, so you can't get any higher attack speed even if you go for Berserker's Greaves. Secondly, if you go for Gluttonous Greaves, you get 7% Omnivamp, and as we know, Zeri is all about that lifesteal Omnivamp kind of style, so this is way more beneficial for her. And furthermore, this of course gives 30 AD, but I'm recording this the day before patch 4.3a, so now it's going to be 35 AD, which is even more. So a possible question you might ask is, why not just drop the Phantom Dancer and just go for the Berserker's Greaves instead? Well, the answer is you can do that, but I just personally prefer to go for Phantom Dancer and go for Berserker's Greaves. Go for Gluttonous Greaves, sorry. So what you could do if you didn't want to drop it is you could take away your Phantom Dancer, then you could go for, let's say, Bloodthirster second item, then you could go for, let's say, IE over here, and then as your last item you could of course go for perhaps, let's say, Inavory Quick Blades instead. So you could go for this like full AD 0 attack speed kind of build, and you get your attack speed of course from your boots, which is going to be the Berserker's Greaves. You could do that, but as I said, I don't really like doing that. I personally prefer something like this, going for the Phantom Dancer. Of course the Phantom Dancer gives you a little bit of AD, but it mostly gives you the attack speed and the movement speed, which is of course very helpful for Zeri because she loves movement speed, and this is where you get your attack speed from. We of course have Shield Bow as our first item, gives you a little bit of AD, a little bit of attack speed, but mostly gives you that physical vamp as well as that lifeline shield when you drop low. And of course, as I mentioned, the Gluttonous Greaves, more AD, and most importantly that Omnivamp. And most matches on Zeri you will probably be taking QSS. Of course this is for the cleansing of CC, which is really important for Zeri because if she gets caught out, she can't zoom around and can't DPS in team fights, and that is basically going to spell your death. Of course, in matchups that you don't have a lot of CC, you could go for Stasis instead. Then we go for Bloodthirster for more AD and of course more physical vamp. Then most of the time you will need the Mole Reminder, of course, for the armor penetration, as well as the Grievous Wounds. Also get a little bit of AD with it. And for our last item we go for IE to get that final injection of AD and bring us to 100% crit, and furthermore increase our critical strike damage. So some alternative items that some people do like to go for is Inavory Quick Blades. Inavory Quick Blades, the main reason to go for this is it reduces the cooldown on all of your abilities, but the main important one is your E. So this reduces the cooldown of your E, allows you to dash a lot more often, increases your mobility in teamfights. You probably can swap out IE for this item. Another item people like is Runan's Hurricane. Allows you to spread damage and basically prevents you from being able to only attack the front target. So this one is normally swapped out for the Phantom Dancer, or Phantom Dancer is normally swapped out for Runan's Hurricane in certain matchups, or if it is your preference. So for the runes we go for Lethal Tempo. Of course this is our other source of attack speed and also allows us to exceed the attack speed cap. This does apply to Zeri's 1.5 attack speed cap as well, so you can go to, I think it's about 1.7 or so attack speed, so this allows you to get more attack speed overall. Brutal of course because we auto attack a lot. And then for this, for the second slot of the precision tree, honestly you could go for anyone. Last Stand is actually pretty good on Zeri because Zeri does drop low and life steals back up a lot of the time, but I think it's really inconsistent because of your fluctuating health. So normally I like to go for Giant Slayer against tanky teams, or Coup de Grace in all other situations, which is of course the most consistent because you always want to kill champions, so they're always going to be below 40% health, assuming you can actually kill them and you're not so far behind. So next up is Bloodline. Of course Bloodline gives you more Omnivamp, and Zeri is all about Omnivamp. Omnivamp from not Omnivamp, but physical vamp from here, Omnivamp from here, physical vamp from here, and Omnivamp from here. So for our last option, I like to actually go for bone plating, of course for the defenses, both in lane as well as in team fights. And then for the spells, we go for flash and ghost if we can, but you can take exhaust if you're up against multiple assassins, or if you like the exhaust playstyle of 1v1ing the other ADC. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into talking about our gameplay. Okay, so now we're jumping straight into, of course, our gameplay. Now, as usual, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will, of course, be sure to address them. Okay, so as we know, I played this game on patch 4.3 and not patch 4.3a, so honestly, there's barely going to be any difference, because you can see like all the champions here, none of them were really affected. Of course, we do have some like changes like to Boots of Mana, for example, and of course Gluttonous Greaves, but overall changes are not too big, so it shouldn't be too significant. So anyways, here we're up against a Ezreal as well as a Braum. Ezreal doesn't actually have first strike, so we don't have to be too worried about that. He actually has Conqueror, and here all we're going to do is Zeri's early game is honestly not that weak. It's not too strong either. Here you can see Glacial on Janna. You can see the value of Glacial on Janna. We basically managed to half health both of the enemy champions because of the Glacial slowing them down. Of course, we get half health as well, but of course, trading 2 half healths on the enemies for our half health is, of course, very worth it. And all we're doing is trading in lane. Honestly, because Ezreal Braum does really little damage, we can afford to trade very aggressively, as you guys can see here. Of course, we are taking a lot of damage as well. Unfortunately, Janna gets stunned, and here we're trying our best to trade. We get the trade onto the Braum, and we get exhausted by Ezreal. We're trying our best to escape, which we do because of our Ghost, and Xin Zhao manages to clean up the kill. So overall it is a 2-for-1 deal, so overall it's pretty good. 1 kill and 1 assist for me, and a kill for the Xin Zhao. Of course, Ezreal did get the kill as well, but as I mentioned, Ezreal Braum is a pretty low damage lane, because Braum doesn't really deal any damage. He of course only provides that shield as well as CC from his passive, and Ezreal doesn't have the most damage in the early game. So in this particular lane, Zeri actually becomes pretty strong because your DPS is pretty much better than the enemy team, so you can actually get in a very decent amount of damage just from like auto attacking and such. You can see Janna is also getting in a lot of auto attacks and W's as well to deal a lot of damage onto them. Normally, as Zeri, you wouldn't play this aggressive in the lane, but you of course have to adapt to the situation. You guys can see here, dashing forward, hitting my Q and auto attacks to chunk the Ezreal out. He's really low and in danger. Here Braum has his shield up, but doesn't matter, you can still attack him with his shield up. Of course he takes less damage, but less damage is better than no damage, so we're just going to go ahead and try to bully him as best we can. Of course we can weave in and out of the tower range to launch our Qs at our enemies. Here you can see Ezreal is trying to back. So here what we're doing is we're going to be, of course, pushing in this wave, and with this wave pushed in, we can either back and reset ourselves, or we can go for plates. So of course in this case we are going to go for plates. Don't really need to back here, so just pick up a plate. Now that we've picked up a plate, we can now back and of course get ourselves some item components, and of course try to hit back to lane before the wave crashes to our tower. So we got all the item components of our shield bow already, and of course we are in very good shape. So with Zeri, there's never really a sort of pressure to perform early. Of course, if you get fed and you do well in the early game, it's going to be a lot better for you. You're going to be very accelerated, but Zeri is one of the best late game scaling champions. When you hit 2-3 items, you're going to be really strong. Particularly on 3 items, you're going to be a monster, and of course every item after that gets even better. So you don't really have to be overly worried to perform in the early game. It's not like a Draven where you have to perform early, otherwise you will be in trouble. With Zeri, you know, it's like a Jinx or something like that. You can just take your time to scale. You don't have to necessarily you know, do too much in the early game. Of course, we already have 1 kill and 1 assist, so we are already kind of ahead of the curve. But as you guys can see here, despite that, Ezreal has been farming really well, and we're actually like kind of even on goal with Ezreal, despite him only having 1 kill. So here, Braum decides to go all in, as does Ezreal. We pop our ult and try to go in as well. Xin Zhao actually comes in on the rotation, but unfortunately they do escape here. I flashed the Ziggs ulti because I was afraid that getting hit in the middle would have killed me, but honestly I think I could have actually just walked out to the side and I wouldn't die from the side. It would be pretty low, but I wouldn't die from the side, so Probably a waste of my flash there. Ezreal tries to ult, but doesn't quite hit the mark. And because of my low health and mana, I'm going to just reset, pick up the shield bow as well. And now we have, of course, our first item right before dragon spawns, which is, of course, the ideal situation. So here in Dragon 20 seconds or so from spawning, Janna is kind of getting run down by Braum, and Ziggs is on the rotation, so we're going to rotate ourselves to try to help out our Janna. But they do, of course, realize that I'm coming, so they do end up backing off. So Xin Zhao looks like he's going for the to the top side, probably going for the Herald or going for a gank on the top lane. So it looks like Dragon is not really going to be contested, at least not by my team. Ezreal and Braum are still in the lane as well, so what we're doing here is we're just staying in lane as well, matching them and picking up the farm as well. No idea where their Evelynn is. Of course, she's likely invisible. Here Braum tries to disengage with his ulti, but doesn't actually hit me, but I do get slowed by the slow zone though, so overall it's quite a even trade. End up taking a huge chunk of damage from Ezreal's ultimate, and he takes a huge chunk from just my general auto attacks. Xin Zhao secures the Herald. Can see Evelynn in the area now, of course revealed over there, so we do of course want to back off and not just die to her and get assassinated. So here the dragon is now being contested because Herald has already been picked up by my team. My team is actually able to come in to actually kind of contest dragon, so I'm gonna hop the wall to see if I can get in range to do anything here. I'm going to just blast the Braum. Yasuo picks up a kill onto the Braum. And we are able to now fall back onto the dragon and do the dragon. So of course, plopping down the control ward, removing the enemy vision, standard practice, and control ward in the enemy control ward in the pit as well. We're going to remove that as well, and we're going to secure ourselves the dragon. So wave has kind of accumulated in the bottom lane. We're going to rotate back and quickly clear up this wave, and then we were going to reset, but Xin Zhao has actually put down the Herald, so we want to stay to get the local goal from the tower getting destroyed, like you see here. And here Yasuo and Xin Zhao are going in onto the Ezreal and the Braum. Because Ezreal and Braum are pretty close to tower, they can't really do too much. However, what we can do is escort this Herald to try to get a second crash, which is what we are trying to do here. It does end up actually getting the second crash, so our job here is done. We can actually now just leave, get hit by the Braum ult unfortunately, but we are actually fine. I'm going to pick up the fruit and we can turn back around for a fight. Here I get hit by the mill of the Ziggs ulti, but doesn't actually do that much damage. Flashing forward to get a double ulti onto two people. And here you can see I'm 1v1 against Evelynn. Shieldbow pops. She manages to kill Xin Zhao, but unfortunately somehow I managed to survive. I survived on 1 HP after her ulti, and she tries to close the gap with her flash to kill me, but you know, the autos plus Q managed to kill her before she can kill me, and by some miracle I end up living, which is actually honestly kind of a surprise, but you know, definitely not gonna complain about it. And off of that we get ourselves both the Zeal as well as getting ourselves the Gluttonous Greaves. I mean, Gluttonous Greaves honestly has so much value for money. Like, think about how Shieldbow gives you like 40 AD plus like 5% vamp, and of course you get other stats like crit and of course like the passive etc as well, but just in terms of like pure stats, like Gluttonous Greaves 35 AD plus like 7% Omnivamp versus like Shieldbow's like 40 AD plus like 5 plus 5% physical vamp. Of course when you pop the shield, it sounds like so insane how much value the Gluttonous Greaves gives. Of course I do get the Gluttonous Greaves buff because Berserker's Greaves are way too popular over Gluttonous Greaves, and not many people are actually taking the Gluttonous Greaves, which is obviously why they buffed it. But honestly, on certain champions that are really good with the Gluttonous Greaves, champs like Zeri, it's so good. Here I get assassinated, try to get assassinated by the Evelynn, but Janna's able to heal me up, and I'm able to actually ult and get the kill onto Evelynn again. Once again, I live on 1 HP, but I'm able to lifesteal everything back. Of course, thanks to the help of the Gluttonous Greaves together with the Shieldbow. You can see that I end up healing up so much. Just look at this, like, I'm just attacking the wave. Look at how much I'm healing up. And I don't even have my Bloodthirster yet. So just think about after I get my Bloodthirster, that's another 12% physical vamp, and all of that vamp is just going to make Zeri absolutely insane. Of course, speaking of boots, you can actually honestly opt for defensive boots if you really need it. Like the armor boots or the magic boots does work really well as well. In certain against certain team comps, like if there's like 2 AD assassins, armor boots are really good, and 2 AP assassins, of course, the magic defense boots are really good. Here we're just going to go ahead and clear the wave. You can see the tower is actually really low, so me and Janna are trying to quickly force the tower before anyone can come on the rotation. You can see Braum rotating, but Braum's not going to do anything to us, so we're just going to pick up the tower. Now we're going to see if we can try to kill Braum and Israel. However, we know Ziggs is actually on the rotation from mid, so we don't want to overcommit, so we're going to just get a little bit of damage. We're just going to back off afterwards, because of course if we overcommit, Ziggs can collapse, and it's going to be a 3v3, which honestly I think we probably win, but you don't want to take any unnecessary risk. Here, Janna almost gets assassinated by Evelyn, doesn't quite though. Ezreal misses his ult again, and here I'm just trying to dash and try to get kills. I get 2 kills already. I'm going to flash forward for the Ziggs, get a 3rd kill. Unfortunately, Darius comes in with the ulti reset. Of course, he did end up killing Xin Zhao in the mid, gets the ulti reset, kills me, kills Janna, and now is going for the Yasuo. Yasuo is trying his best to kill, but unfortunately gets charmed up by Evelyn. Shield Bow pops, he ends up dying to Evelyn's ultimate, and it ends up that on the extended sequence, 4 of us die. Honestly, I would say that this is extremely unlucky, because I think if Darius did not get the kill and did not get the ult reset, he would not have been able to kill me. I would have kited him out, killed him, and the game would have looked very different. But unfortunately, after his kill on me, he gets another reset, ends up 2 more people end up dying, and it just ends up becoming an absolute fiesta of a fight. Regardless, here we have completed our Phantom Dancer. We're also going to get the Vamp Scepter for even more physical Vamp, and now we're ready to rock and roll at the Dragon fight. Xin Zhao's coming in, we get hit by a Braum ult, but honestly not too bad of a deal. Here Xin Zhao manages to steal the dragon, beautiful for our team. And we're just going to run away after the steal. So it's honestly going pretty well for my team. Here I'm resetting. I'm honestly not sure why I'm resetting here. Oh, I get the stasis, that's why. So I'm resetting for the stasis. Of course, stasis is really crucial in this match because of 3 reasons. Number 1, Evelyn assassination. Number 2, Ziggs ulti if I can escape it. Number 3, Darius ulti. So here, we're just gonna group with our team in mid. Janna hits the tornado. We're gonna run down the Braum. Basically, you can see here, Braum cannot escape. We're gonna just run him down. Yasuo picks up the kill, and not too much we can do afterwards. He gets hooked over the wall by the Darius, who appears to be the main problem of my team at the moment. Gonna hop the wall, pop the ulti, and start just blasting away. Unfortunately, though, we can't really chase down anyone else, so we are going to instead just go for the Baron. So here, honestly, pretty textbook. 2 people are dead. Go for a Baron. Control ward in the pit to ensure the enemy team can't see us, and also to ensure we can see the Evelyn. Seems like it's going to all go very well. The ward, enemy ward placed down on the pit. We're just going to destroy it. And here we're about to secure the Baron. However, as you can see, some way, somehow, Evelyn manages to flash in the pit, steal the Baron, and get out with her ultimate, which is completely ridiculous, considering the fact we have like 3 to 4 people in the pit, and Xin Zhao is there as well for the smite. And honestly, Evelyn didn't even smite correctly. The Baron had like 51 health after she smited, so it was just an absolutely ridiculous situation. What just happened here. Xin Zhao said he was lagging, but we don't really know what's really happened, so I guess we can give the benefit of the doubt, but it just kind of is a disastrous situation because enemy team now gets Baron, and Baron becomes now actually really good because of the fact that when you die, you don't actually lose Baron. So everyone on the enemy team who respawns is going to get Baron as well, which is honestly kind of ridiculous if you ask me, but that's the way the system works now. Of course, it works both ways for both your team and the enemy team, so pros and cons, I guess. But here, we're just going to sidestep the Ziggs bomb. Honestly, taking a poke damage is not too bad, so long as we have minions to attack and lifesteal off of. As you guys can see, we can basically heal ourselves back up to full health. Like here, I'm just gonna do the Raptors. The Raptors is healing ourselves back up to full, basically. Gonna go and help to leash the red buff for Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao's of course gonna come on over. Gonna let him take the red buff. No problem smiting the red buff apparently. Only problems smiting the Baron. But anyways, here we're still in a really good spot. I'm 8-1 and 5 at the moment. Trying my best to farm up to complete my Bloodthirster, which is of course gonna be my next next major buy. Now honestly, from like my Zeri experience in this game, honestly I feel like the lifesteal you get from like Shiobo plus Bloodline plus the Gluttonous Greaves is actually already a lot. Actually, I think there could be an argument to actually go for IE third item and then go for Bloodthirster last item instead. That could actually be better because your damage is going to be a lot better. But of course you're going to sacrifice some lifesteal for that, so it is of course going to be a trade-off. But for this game, I'm of course going to go for Bloodthirster first. Maybe I'm going to try out testing IE as a third item instead of Bloodthirster and see how it goes. But for now, this is what we have, and I think this is for now the best build. So here Zinjao goes in, gets a kill. Unfortunately, I don't know if my ult actually hit anybody here. And one of the bad things about Zeri ult is if you hit nobody with the ult doesn't actually activate. So since the ult is activated, looks like I did hit somebody with the ult, thankfully. Darius is actually coming in from the flank from the right, so we want to look out for him. Doesn't end up coming through in the end. Now here the third dragon is spawning. Of course we already have double dragon, so we are very interested in getting this third dragon to get the triple dragon win condition. Here Janna is resetting for health, and apparently I'm going to reset as well. Maybe we can pick up some anti-heal or something like that. Actually we only pick up a long sword, so I'm not quite sure why we reset here. But either way, we're just going to hit back out. Alright, and so here we're trying to run down the Ziggs. Honestly, here me and Jenna have a little bit of miscommunication. I thought we weren't committing, and I end up just taking some minions, and Jenna ends up committing, which basically forces me to commit and flash, but Ziggs ends up escaping in the end, which basically ends up wasting our spells to try to chase after him, so it kind of just becomes a disaster overall. He is taken out of the fight though, so here we're in a 5v4, where Ziggs is not actually part of this fight. So here I did not use my ult as well, so I still have my ult ready and available to use in this team fight if we need it. Here we managed to actually zone the enemy team away from the dragon, and we are able to actually secure the dragon this time. Enemy team is now backing off because there's no objective to be contested anymore. And in the end, it's still a relatively favorable outcome. Right, so here the red buff is up. However, you can see that the enemy team is trying to siege mid, so red buff not so important. We're going to try to stop them or get some kills here. So we do end up getting, we don't end up stopping them, but we do end up getting a kill on the Braum, which is a relatively nice pick. Here we're trying to chase down the rest of the enemy team, because if we get another pick or two, we could go for Baron, but unfortunately the enemy team all manages to escape. So no such luck. Right, so here with the numbers advantage, we're trying to put pressure on the mid lane as well as, of course, side lane. So you can see Zin is on bot lane and Akali is on top lane, whereas me, Yasuo, and Jenna are on mid lane. We're of course splitting our manpower to push all of the lanes, and basically any team can only stop one or two lanes. They can't possibly stop everywhere. So here they decide to commit onto Zinjao, which is honestly a pretty good idea because he's our jungler. So without him around, Baron is a lot less of a threat, and Elder Dragon is going to spawn in a little bit as well. He won't be around for that, so that is of course really bad for us. So now, the new job becomes to prevent the enemy team from getting Elder or Baron, which of course we're failing miserably at because Akali just died. So now we're in a 3v5 and both objectives are up. So this is going to be a very sticky situation. Enemy team is most likely going to just go ahead and rush Elder because we are at a numbers disadvantage and we don't have our jungler with us. So this is honestly a pretty bad situation. So here we're going to quickly try to reset. Evelyn actually pops up, so we actually cancel our back. And because Elder Dragon has spawned already, enemy teams in the area, we can't actually reset, so we're going to have to stay and try to stop the enemy team from taking the Elder Dragon. Now fortunately, the enemy team doesn't appear to be rushing it, at least not nearly fast enough. Zinjao is now back up and alive, so here we're just trying to play for time to try to buy time for Zinjao to come in for a steal or for a fight. So Dragon's at about 4k health, Zinjao ends up going in. Here I actually get interrupted, my dash gets interrupted by the Braum ulti. Here I'm flashing in, trying to kill everybody. I stasis to prevent myself from getting bursted by Elder. Darius hooks me, Evelyn tries to kill me as well, but I'm going to dash out over the wall. Here I'm trying my best to kite the Darius. Darius gets his full stacks on me, but he doesn't actually have ult. So here, trying to kite the Darius. Yasuo comes in. here we are going to try to 3v1 the Darius, and we do get the kill. So overall, it's not too bad of a situation. Enemy team does end up getting Elder. However, we do get the kill onto 3 of them, so only Elder is left on Ziggs and Evelynn. So it's, I mean, the situation is bad, but it could have been worse, I guess you could say. So here, honestly, if Evelynn was dead, we could have done Baron. Like, if Evelynn was one of the 3 dead, we could have done Baron. Unfortunately, she is alive, so we can't do Baron, because really, it's going to be really easy for Evelynn to steal, so we can't do that, unfortunately. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to try to run down time and try to prevent them from having the Elder buff, and then hopefully get a fight at Baron. Now, this is really difficult, because if I were the enemy team, I would be forcing Baron right now. I'm going to wait for everyone to respawn. I'm going to force Baron, because obviously I still have 2 people with Elder, and I just want to force Baron to force a fight. Here, 2 of my teammates end up dying at the top lane, which makes the situation even worse, because they overextend once again, and they end up dying at the top lane again. So now here, the most obvious move for the enemy team is to, of course, go for Baron. So here we're trying our best to fend off the enemy team without overcommitting and without just all dying and giving the enemy team the game. So here, the 3 of us have to thread very carefully. Now, this is not a lost cause, because, of course, I'm still a very fit Zeri. I'm 9-1 and 9. We still have a jungler, we still have Xin Zhao, but it looks like Xin Zhao has decided to give up on Baron. So enemy team does take Baron. Good news here is that their Elder Dragon is actually running out in 10 seconds, so we're only going to have to defend against a Baron. We don't have to defend against the Elder Dragon, which is, of course, a lot of a better situation than if we had to defend against the double buffs. So here, we're just going to basically just need to wave clear all our lanes and prevent Baron from taking too many towers. We're probably going to have to give up the tier 2 towers, but we can try to defend the inhibitor towers, you know, if the situation calls for it and if we are able to do so. So here the enemy team is, as you can see, not very coordinated. Here we're able to basically clear the minions before they even get close to any of our towers. You can see that a fight is breaking on the top lane, so we're going to rotate there immediately. Everybody is like rotating. Darius actually kills the Yasuo, but here you can see I'm going in with the ulti. I'm just trying to blast wherever I can. Braum is not a priority target, so I'm going to ignore the Braum. I'm just going to walk forward and try to kill somebody else. Here I'm trying to kill the Ezreal and the Ziggs. We get the Ezreal, but Ziggs is able to bomb us away. Now Braum is still behind us, so we're gonna come back here to kill the Braum. So we do get the kill onto the enemy bot lane. Darius and Ziggs are able to escape, but of course we have bot lane pushing in. Akali is of course clearing bot at the moment, so we still save our inhibitors. So here we're trying to farm up everywhere we can, because we're trying to get the IE. The IE is of course going to be a major power spike for us. When we, basically it's going to hit full build and 100% crit. Going to boost our crit damage, so that's going to be of course insane. So we're trying our best farming all the minions. I believe that we got it here, which is why we're back. Unfortunately, we get assassinated by Evelynn. We do pop the stasis, but we try to flash out the Ziggs, and we try to actually kite the Evelynn. But unfortunately, Evelynn manages to hit the charm, and we do end up dying. We do complete the IE though. Honestly, I could have won that if I played properly. What I should have done there is, because Evelynn still had a charm on me, I should have, instead of turning an auto attack, I should have continued running, wait for the charm to expire, or wait for the mark to expire, I should say, and then turn on her after the mark expires. In that way, she can't CC me. She's already used her ult, and she likely cannot burst me, since her electrocute already procs already as well. And I probably would have won that 1v1, and I would have been alive now, but unfortunately though, we end up dying here. So it's kind of a problem, but thankfully though, our team is able to actually kill off the Darius as well as his teammates. Only a 1 HP Braum is left running for the hills, and looks like we're going to be able to probably end the game here. So here my team is going to of course just push on this tower. I have of course respawned already, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to show the base where my team is basically just going to force the end, as you can see here, and we do get the victory. So I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.